All right, February, we've been working on relationships, and the first service we worked on getting a little bit more honesty. You guys been doing better with that?
Yes.
Thank you. And then we started working on last week, maybe understanding when we go into those subconscious files and maybe not opening them. Anybody find yourself doing that this week? And had an opportunity to not?
I did it Monday.
There you go. Thank you. Today we want to work on loving harmoniously. And when you go to our friend Webster and you look up harmony, it means to be in agreement or to be in accord. And it also refers to a pleasing connection. A pleasing connection. When we use it metaphysically, we're always talking about for the good of the whole. So when we come into harmony, we're coming into a vibration that vibrates good energy for all, or good energy for the people involved, or the parts that are coming into harmony. It's for good. It's not for lower frequency, it's for good. So when we think harmonizing, we're think about music, think about the harmony of the sounds, think about making something more beautiful by two contributions. That's our goal. And you can see that that would be a really good goal in relationships, right? Okay. When we are harmonizing, it is not a time for you to shine, to be the individual star. It's a time for you to share your light with another light. And so it feels different. When we do this, we create a greater light, we create something new, we might create something funny, we might create anything. But it is about bringing something we have of value and connecting with and harmonizing with someone else's value. All right. When you think about relationships, isn't that what you think it is always about? That's our goal, isn't it? Harmonious love keeps us connected. It is the love that you felt when you first started courting. Any of your loves. Think about the romantic stage that you go through when you first meet and you fall in love and you start to court. Do you not feel that harmonious love where you're seeking to see how can I bring the best of me to the best of you, and how can we create something better? And the world stops and you're all about sharing. You're not all about shining your light. You're not all about look at me. It's my turn. Don't say anything. This is the courting phase of love. And if it is not sustained, love can become very dry. Very dry. But we can't live there either, can we? So we need to learn how to move in and out of this harmonious love. You have to decide to do it. You have to actually create a time to do it. Both decide, both bring the best to whatever endeavor it is, and you are in it together. And you can do it shopping. I love harmonious shopping. Don't you, Patrick? Yes. It can be anything. It could be working, creating, resting. It doesn't really matter. It's when you're working in tandem with a partner, when you're working in tandem with someone. I have a few pointers from Spirit for you. Do you think you need a couple? Yes. All right. The first pointer is this. Number one, you cannot have other things on your mind. Have you ever spent time with someone and you are not there?
Oh, yeah.
And you're thinking about something else, and you may be in your phone, or you may be in your head, or you may be whatever. And oftentimes when you are doing that, you are just waiting for this time to end. Yes, I promised you I'd sit and talk with you for a minute, but are you still? Okay. We're waiting, counting out the minutes, so that we can go and be in our own space again and not feel guilty about it. Now, when you think about the romantic time that brought you into this relationship, it did not have that, did it? And if you begin to think that that is now required to sustain the relationship, it's kind of easier to think, okay, let me set everything aside, including your phone. Put everything aside and just be with the partner, neither one taking control, because it's about harmony, harmonious love. Neither one taking control, but each showing up with the good they have to offer in that moment. You guys with me on that? All right. Spirit said when you look at these times as an obligation, you can't wait for them to end. And you do not feel that the person is with you and you do not feel connected. Then they reminded me of the word tandem, which they gave me. I had to look it up. Tandem is when two horses are in front and behind the other. It's when they're going and drawing the buggy together, but they're not side by side. They have to go the same direction at the same time at the same pace. And when we are moving towards something, sharing a moment together, a spiritual moment together, and we're going the same direction at the same time, then we can have that feeling of being together in it, being harmonious in it. If one stops participating, think of the horses, if one stops participating, be it the first or the second, there is no forward motion. The one at the back starts dragging, back stops participating, the first tries to drag, the first stops participating, and they'll go in a circle. So both have to be participating to go forward. Can you imagine times when you really are consciously participating with the one that you love, seeking to harmonize? Can you think about times when you might need to do it a little bit better? Okay, all right. Doesn't feel like love if you're not there. It feels like an annoyance. All right, breathe point number 1 in. I need to have nothing else on my mind. Point number 2. I need to seek the good in my partner. Don't make it about the experience, because when you're with your partner, it doesn't matter where you are. Do you remember that? Remember when you were in love? I don't care what we're doing or what we're talking about, as long as I'm with you. We can do anything. Remember? Yeah. Where'd that go? When you make it about the experiences, which is what we tend to do, we tend to quantify or qualify the experiences. We've lost our focus on our partner. So this is time for them to feel your love and time for you to feel their love. So do you want to remember all the things that they've done that were negative that week? It's not time to air out what you should have said before. Oh, now that I've got you here and you're listening to me, let me tell you what's been bugging me about you before we go forward. This is not taking inventory time. This is a time to look at and find something good in your partner. And I know that what I'm saying you all know, but I also know that whether you realize it or not, you need me to say it to you. We all need to be reminded to be conscious and to be aware. So finding good. And then if we can find good, we harmonize with the good that we find. Even if you're annoyed with them or they've really been bugging you, you can at least look at them and say, well, I know you're a child of God. That's good, isn't it? If I know you're a child of God and I'm a child of God, let's start from there. Okay, child of God, how was your day? Okay, child of God, let's take a moment to be together. Do you see? All right. Harmonizing, you can see their goodness, their talent, their beauty, their heart, their higher self, and align with that. Remember why you chose them. We forget that, don't we? We go into these relationships and we forget why we chose them in the first place. What was it about them? I have to remind Patrick all the time that I'm fabulous. And that is why he chose me. He forgets sometimes, you know? Remember what is about them. I need to remember what is about him, why I chose him. And if you can go just to that thought, you can open the door. And when the door is open, anything can happen. And it would be beautiful. All right. You can always know you chose them for a reason, and there's another little thing. You were brought together for a reason. God assisted in you finding each other. God brought you to this moment to learn something. There's divine energy moving between the two of you, even if it's a new relationship or a very ancient one. Something is to be learned and valued. If you can seek the good in your partner, you activate the good in yourself. That's good. These are the real moments when you're both present with each other. Sound easy? All right. Point number 2, seek the good in your partner. Point number 1, don't be thinking about other stuff. How easy is this? Okay, I want to teach you point number 3. Relationships they're always interesting. So if Bet would come up, and I need a guy that has a light shirt on. So Beth has come home from work, and she is shining her light, and she is bright and cosmic. Put you right here. Can everybody see her?
Yes. So bright.
Hold it up.
So bright.
Okay.
Very bright.
Now, she comes home from work, and she's just so full of the crush. She's had a fabulous day. She did some wonderful things, and she is just really, 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 really happy. And her husband is really, really, really sad. And so he's depressed. And she goes, hey, honey.
Hey, honey.
And he is not happy with her. He begins to tell her all of the bad things in life and why are you so happy and did you see the news and this is really not good. Things are not good. And what the first thing that she does is she begins to dim her light. Okay, I won't shine quite so brightly. I'm going to dim my light a little bit. I'm still the light. And then he keeps going, bad, bad, bad. Things are bad, bad, bad. And so she begins to minimize her energy. Everything is bad, bad, bad. So who she is starts to diminish. And what happens in that moment is flakes of the darkness will actually begin to appear in her fan. Do you see what's happening? All right. So his energy has dominated her frequency. And now she is less than what she was before. The light is gone and flakes of his darkness will start appearing. Okay. If she had stayed in her energy and said, here I am. Remember, what are we talking about? We're talking about harmonious relationships. In the first scenario, who harmonized with who? She harmonized with him. Was it for good? No. So we're not even calling it harmony. But let's say she just stays in her energy, he's and she just doesn't even say anything to him, doesn't try to change him, doesn't say anything to him. It is possible that he could end up looking like that. By right of vibration. Not necessarily has she healed any of the darkness under here? No, that's not her job. She's not his counselor. But he has now taken on a little bit of the higher frequency because it was in him anyway. He had the higher frequency in him. And if she just held her ground and stood her energy and stayed in the joy and love that she is, she can affect his world. Does that make sense for you guys? Okay, thank you both. I wanted to do the fans so you would have a visual because I can tell you all day long what's going to happen, but at least now your brain will see it. So, when in the back of our minds, let's just start from the beginning. In the back of your mind, anyone in relationship? Okay, if you're not, you've been in one probably, or you're going to be in one. In the back of your mind, when you live with someone, don't you always have in your head when they're going to come home?
Sure.
Are you always aware of when they're going to come home? Do you know why? Because you got to deal with them when they come home.
You gotta be ready.
That's why. You're on ready. You're on like, I can do this and this and this and this, and I can do this and this and this. Oh, they're going to be home. I better finish that. I better finish this so I can continue to enjoy my own personal creative space without having to handle them. And then when they come home, we subconsciously know that we've now got to create a space for them. Now it's not about me anymore. It's not me to have my fun. It's not me to do what I need to do. I have to create a space for them. Is anybody that's single going, that's why I'm single? Any thoughts in your brain at this point? And that's why I'm single. So it's subconscious. And we create this space, and then when they come in, it's always like, and how are you? And what do I need to do for us to have a shared space together? How do I harmonize? How do I heal? It's just this space that gets created. So, becoming aware of someone else, thinking that they have to interrupt us, is very interesting. Because when we do that, we've actually let them have our power. So, if you look at the fans, I want you to realize life is vibration. Life is vibration. Life is vibration. When you get home, do you not want your spouse or your lover or friend to say, I'm so glad you're here? Don't you want that greeting?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to be welcomed into their world. You don't want to be, you want that love and space. Now, that love and space may not allow a long-term harmonious loving moment because both of you may have things to do. But you want to have at least one little harmonious moment at the point of greeting, don't you?
Yes.
How many of you have experienced not having that? When you come, it's like grump, grump. Okay. It's okay. All right. When you realize that your partner affects your world, when you realize that when you dim the light, you are letting them have control. The moment you dim your light, what you are saying is that you are more powerful than I am in this moment. And what is the greatest power? You all know it. Love. Love is the greatest power. When the two fans were out, the white fan with the golden energy should have been the dominant power, shouldn't it? But Our Lady felt that if I love my partner, I have to make him more important than me. And the minute you do that, you are secondary. And the minute you do that, you're subject to them. And they're not free to live their own life. They have to now cart you around with them. You're not living your life. You're not living your joy. Do you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Dimming your light because someone else is having a bad day means they are in charge of you. Getting smaller and smaller hurts. You all realize that. It hurts on every level. And if they're in a dark space, you will not stop until you find darkness in yourself. Now, we all know that we have issues. We all know that we have darker spaces that we haven't healed and stuff that we're working on. And yay, God. Yay, God. But we were doing good. We were doing really good. We don't need to, or why do we need to let a spouse or partner make us go there? Hearing me? Okay. So when we do that, we take on that similar vibration. If our lady had kept her frequency and our man had kept his frequency, he was in his power and she was in hers, they would have repelled. For that moment, for that day, they would have just repelled. She would go to one room and he'd go to another. She'd be happy and he'd be happy in his sorrow. You see? They would have not been able to create a harmonious moment. They would have just repelled each other. And that's okay. Sometimes that happens. But remember to, if we're going to keep the love going, we need to have those other moments as well. So, this is what Spirit said. We say love is the greatest power, but the minute you dim your light for anyone, they have the power to dictate your world. We are not harmonizing, we are entraining. The weaker energy entrains to the stronger, and when we do not hold our own goodness as the stronger, then we become subject to someone else's reality. And then all things happen. We get upset, we divorce, we do all kinds of stuff, we break up, we blame people. It gets kind of ugly if that becomes a pattern repeatedly. But here's the bottom line. Your happiness is not up to them. The reality is your happiness is on you. When we come together in these moments, we can share our joy. Isn't it fun to share your joy? You're so happy you get to share your joy. When somebody's coming in and you're greeting and you share your happiness with each other, your joy, but you're not looking to the other to make you happy. You're finding it within yourself. When we can do that, then the harmonious moments can be greater, stronger, and more like this. Perfect. So, that was point number 4, or point number 3. No one can make you happy but you. And so here's point number 4, and we're doing it fast. Harmonize does not mean to be equal. This is a little side note for those of you that are keeping score. We tend to, a little bit. Harmonizing is not equality. So let's say that you have a great idea, you want to do something, and you're both in it, you're both bringing the best you got to it, and there are times when I will do, if we are planning a vacation, and we are going to harmonize, Pat and I are going to harmonize on a vacation, 80% of the work is mine until we're in the car going. 80% is mine, 20% is his. But that's okay, because that's how we roll. If we're doing something at the house, I've got the great idea, we're in harmony on it, it's great. 20%'s mine. And 80%'s his, because that's how we roll. So harmony doesn't mean equality. It means bringing the best and the best and creating a greater light. But you know, in that moment when I'm working on that vacation and planning, it's a lot of work. And I feel his love. I feel his support. I can say, look, honey, I did this and this, and I feel that. And he feels mine when we're talking about what we're going to do. Do you hear what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Life is vibration. So as we're contributing what we have to offer, we create those beautiful moments that we can come together unequally, yet beautifully. So the points are this. Can't have things on your mind. You have to seek the good in your partner. You have to take responsibility for your own joy. And harmonizing does not have to be equality. If you can think of those 4 things and begin to remember that, and if you're not in related partnership right now, you can do this with friends as well. You can do it with anyone. Having those moments where you come together with a focused intention to be with them, to enjoy them, to experience life, and to live in a harmonious love. It is very, very simple, isn't it? We forget though, don't we? Okay, so what I want to do right now is let's anchor it in so that we can start remembering. Just breathe and feel. And God, I ask that your light again engulf us all. And I ask that a column of beautiful light, golden light, just engulf each one. They're in their own sacred space. But let it be a golden column of light today. And I want you just to allow your focus to go to your heart, to go to the depth of who you are, your heart. You can imagine yourself actually going into the heart center and just feel your physical heart. And then begin to feel God. Feel the God love that moves through you. And just imagine the beauty of it, the peace. This is what you have to share with the world. This beautiful God love moving through you, animating who you are. Feel the beauty of who you are. And now if you are in relationship or you have a past relationship, would you just welcome someone in? Any kind of relation, could be a friend as well. Whoever comes forward now into your column of light is the perfect one. Feel the love you are in your heart. And I want you to look at their heart. And just begin to feel the love they are. The good intentions, the beauty of God moving through them. And begin to feel a sense of peace moving between the two of you, just like a little peaceful flow. And there's nothing you have to do. They feel your love in this moment as well. We're just going to breathe and let them go now. And just find yourself back in the beautiful calm of God love. I choose to be present with my life. And I choose to honor the love that comes to me through others and the love I share. Breathe. And in your mind, just see the golden light moving into the cells of your body. Let your focus come back to the chair that holds you. And just say, I am good.
I am good.
And open your eyes, and we are so grateful, God. Very rarely do we do a whole series on relationships of humanity. But this month I was guided to, because this is where we need to practice God love in our relationships with our beloveds. So I hope that you have learned something, been reminded of a few things as we've been on our little journey. And I hope that you can go forward just awake to the potential for greater for yourself. Say, yeah, God.
Yeah.